Alright guys, all joking aside, I wouldn't cut a hamburger that small. This is a dagger from Solo Leveling. If you haven't checked out the anime, highly advise it. Pretty cool anime. I saw this over on Yash Studios that he has, this file just got put up recently on one of his Patreon months. And I decided that's a cool little dagger I can add to my wall of arsenal. And I thought I'd jump into it, and I wanted to show you guys how I went about building this. This file has actually two different file types for the handle. I wound up doing the wrap by myself as opposed to printing the handle that had the wrap file on it. That being said, guys, if you guys are enjoying the videos I've been putting up and the content, please make sure you guys put a like and on this video, and be sure to be subscribing. If you're not subscribing, first time coming around, I'll be posting up a lot more videos of different content and different props that I'll be making throughout the coming months. So with that, let's jump into it, and I'll show you step by step how I made the Knight Dagger from Solo Leveling. Here you can see everything fits on this build plate. This is a Saturn II, which is a build volume of 123 by 219 by 250 tall. I was able to get this all just made it on this build plate. Here are all the parts for this dagger. This is a pretty quick and easy build. We're going to do a base. First thing we're going to do is a base coat of black. And then for this part, there's an option to do the printout on this model is have it either with the wrap look on there, or you can go ahead and have it print the plain one out and wrap it yourself, get some ribbon or cloth or fabric. I actually have some piece of ribbon, white ribbon, that we're going to go over after this. We're going to do wrap this whole thing, but right now we're going to do paint everything with a base coat of black, and then we're going to start hitting all these parts with gold, and then these little dots here that go into the little rivet parts that go into here, those we're just going to hand paint them because they're just so small. Because if you get a spray paint, they'll just fly everywhere, so we don't want that. So we're gonna go ahead with this with a base coat, and then the hardest part of probably the whole build is we're gonna be doing this with like a hammered paint, and then once that sets, we're gonna tape this off, and then we're gonna paint all of this like a nice metallic red. So that's probably gonna be the hardest part of this build, is having to wait for this to dry, so that way we can tape it off and then do the blade portion. And then this build comes with a 5/8 hole. We're gonna find a rod from our local hardware store, and then we're gonna size it all up, put it all in, and then we're just gonna go ahead and crazy glue it. Let's go ahead and start painting these parts, and we'll go step by step. All right, here we are in the spray booth. I just wanted to share with you a little tip here about setting these up. They're on these little lobster clasps, and they're all shoved in there, with the exception of the blade, because the blade's so tall and the stick only goes in just a little bit. So I had this little rod I had laying around, and I put some sanding paper there, and I taped that to the rod, that way it doesn't spin. That has a better support through the blade. And as for these parts right here, they're flat, nothing really to grab to. So what I did was put a little dollop of hot glue, and that they're temporarily glued on there. So once they finish painting, I can just pull those off, and I'll have a nice clean place to paint these. So we're gonna go ahead and give a base coat of black, and then once that's done, we're gonna take the blade out of here, and then we're gonna go ahead and do the gold on all those parts here. For the metal pieces, for the gold pieces, we're gonna be doing this metallic gold, not the normal Rust-Oleum gold. This is like that more metallic finish, because we're going to be doing kind of weathering here, so I'm not worried about being that flat shiny part, but we're going to go with this, and then once this is set, then we're going to do some weathering on this, and that will get that some kind of different effect here. Here we got just the blade itself, and we're going to be doing a hammered, Rust-Oleum hammered, to give that kind of like dragony scale look to the flat part. Here we have the handle. I decided to tape off the main handle part to separate the tip here. We're going to paint that gold, but because we're going to be wrapping this in a cloth or a ribbon over there, I want that black to shine, be the backdrop for the white. as opposed to having it all gold. I guess I could have just painted it all gold, but this is the route we're going with, and hopefully we'll have some kind of good result once this is done. All right, so that's dried for a few seconds here, and then we're just going to follow the lines, and then there at some points we're going to be twisting to get to the other side, and then carry it around, because obviously you'll have this. So let's just start this whole process here. There's no real science to how I did this or started this. Let's see. Now just be careful as you're wrapping this, just as you're going, just keep it tight. And the best thing is just keep it nice and tight. And then at the end over here, just before you start this, put a little dollop of glue so that way it locks into place at that start there. This handle has this cone shape here, so as you're going up the handle, it's getting bigger, and what happens is as you're going through, you'll come to find out that it kind of wants to give it a bubble or give a space there. I didn't realize afterwards, like almost 75% of the way up, I realized I should have did like I could do like a twist going up, so that way it kind of folds over and then it doesn't give you a gap there. There's somewhere in the middle it winds up leaving a bubble on this handle, which this was probably one of the hardest parts of the whole build, was trying to figure out this routing on this ribbon here. Again, there is the other option to print the file already in that printed, that wrap mode. The file already has that look to it. I just wanted to give myself a different challenge on this build, and I was able to wrap this. So it took me a little bit time to do this. So I just kind of speed through this right now for you guys. Just whatever works best for you as far as the wrapping goes. All right, here we go. We got the blade. So the blade's been all painted black. We got this all taped off. Now we're going to go ahead and hit this with the gold. That way that'll be the underlining of the metallic red. We're going to get this nice and shiny red that we're going to have, almost kind of like blood dripping red, I guess, for the blade. Another part where you want to make sure you're doing is that the rod that you get, so we got the rod here for the handle. This is supposed to be fitting a 5/16 rod. So this is supposed to be 5/16, but I think that's in between there. But I did have to go ahead and hit the drill in there with a little bit bigger bit and drill this head in. So everything fits there now. We're going to go ahead now and paint the gold, then paint the red, and then start assembling all these parts. All right, so we got the gold laid down. Now we're going to hit this with the Duplicolor metallic red. All right, guys, there it is. That's the metallic red. I did 2 coats of the metallic red on there. And we're going to go ahead and take all that tape off now while it's nice and wet. What's that sound? We can peel it off. Like I mentioned in another video, if you've been hanging around for a while, I'm in the camp of don't let it dry and just take the tape off because I'm impatient. So let's go ahead and take the tape off. All right, so I kind of skipped a step showing you guys. I just did a little weathering on here. So you have to strip here, the ribbon here, and I got some black acrylic paint and some water. Actually, that's not the right one I was using, but same thing. You get the idea. I got my jar here of dirty paint here. Kind of dabbled that, clean it off a little bit. Clean up all the excess, and then just no real science to it. Kind of just brush it all over, get it all dirtied up. Oop. No real science here. Just kind of get it all dirtied up, and then we're just going to wipe it off. The rod's not in there, so I'm just putting it in there so I can get it all, see where everything is. Kind of getting this all dirty, get into the crevices here with some paint. Clean it off a little bit, and then just putting some here, there, different spots, all spots where it's going to be like dirt building up, and then we're just going to wipe it all off. So happy little accidents kind of situation. And then get that. We'll get our napkin here and just kind of dabbing it off, taking off the excess. as we go. I'm just kind of leaving it dirty, like it's been worn, been used. And then go through all that, both sides. I'm gonna go ahead and finish this up and glue this all into place. And then we're gonna go to the blade real quick, touch that up, touch the blade up a little bit. And then we're gonna glue it all together. And we're gonna call this project done. Let's finish this up, guys. All right, so in my haste, I wanna be fully transparent on the blade. Right now, as you've seen previously on the few other clips, I painted the black part with that tempered look, but in my haste to go ahead and paint the red part, the red portion of the blade, I put the tape on and the black wasn't set or cured as much as I wanted it to be or should have been. And when I peeled the tape off from after the red, the left a whole bunch of mark and stickiness from the tape. So will happen if you don't wait long enough if the paint is not cured. Normally you should be waiting at least minimum 24 hours, 2 days, really depending on your environment. So if you don't wait and you don't give it enough time, that will happen. So my fix on the blade was, instead of having to redo the whole thing, was I got the my black 3.0 and I wanted to get it a really black, really dark on here, and it wound up actually doing pretty good. And then doing the clear coat, the black 3.0 will give you a very matte look. That's all the 3.0 is. If you have the chance to get the 4.0, go ahead and get the 4.0 because I wound up getting the 3.0 just right after the 4.0 came out. So same thing, kind of what happened when I got the Neptune 3 Max. 3 weeks later, the Neptune 4 Max came out. But in hindsight, it was better because there's a lot of problems with the Neptune 4. So that being said, I was able to salvage this. I hand painted the black, and there's like the bumps and the ridges from, and the nooks and crannies, I guess you want to say, from that tempered paint, which kind of adds to like dragony scale, I guess. Which I'm pretty happy with it. And that being said, now that this is painted, I put the clear coat on, the 1K Duplicolor clear coat on there. Now we're gonna go ahead and finish assembling the whole thing, and that'll be it. And my kid walked in as I'm talking. Yes, I'm recording. I'm gonna put a red light there and be like, recording. Bye. Now that the clear coat's on there, nice and done, maybe it's a little tacky, I might want to handle it too much. So once this is fully cured, we're gonna go ahead and assemble it, and that'll be the end for this blade. So let's jump to that. So that was a fun, quick build. My only advice right now, as far as when I did this, is to make sure that all the parts sit before you wind up gluing the rod in there like I did. There's a little space in there, if you can see there, right there is a little gap. I'm gonna go ahead and fill that in with some resin and then paint that and fix that all up, because I wound up gluing the rod into the handle and everything else, and then when I was fitting the blade, which fit before I put the rod in there, and it was all fine, but then when I put the rod in, for some reason it wasn't fitting. I don't know, but easy fix. I can go ahead and fill that in and paint that and then do a little touch up on that, and that'll be 100%. So right now this is at 95%. This video is to tell you guys how to make sure to not make those mistakes if you're working on this blade. Again, guys, if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you guys hit me a like and subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate it. And that way I can tell my kid that I've said that, because he keeps reminding me to make sure I say that to you guys. That being said, guys, keep making it nerdy, and I'll see you next time.